is look in your industry and see what each of the agencies that you're competing against, see where they serve, and then fill the gap. You know more than the person that you're selling to, more than likely. You just have to go out and you have to get your reps in. And that's not going to happen. I need you to go out and move faster, and I need you to fail faster.
Guys, the 3 S's: solve, serve, and sell. Welcome back to a brand new episode of the 8-Figure Agency Show, where a successful entrepreneur and a soon-to-be successful entrepreneur help you build an 8-figure agency by documenting our successes and our failures. And guys, today's episode is going to be a little bit different, not because I have these fancy lines in the background because it's so dark in my room. Yes, I forgot to buy lights, but because this is going to be a quick bite of an episode. We are going to be talking about how anyone can start an agency from scratch in 2023 and every year beyond, 2024, 2025. So if you are somebody who's always been interested in starting an agency, a marketing agency, a media agency, you've come to the right video, because in the next 15 to 20 minutes, Gary and I are going to walk you through step by step how you can start an agency and get rolling. So Gary, what are the main topics we're going to cover today to provide value to the listeners?
Yeah, so first let me say that I started my agency from scratch, from the ground up, and so did Derrik. So we have a lot of experience around this, and we've done it in 2 different gaps of time. So Derrik's doing it in the 2020 era, and I did it in 2008. So definitely, and we did it in 2 totally different niches. So we have a lot of experience around this, and what we're going to share is going to be perfect for you to start your agency. And here's the other thing. I'm not going to give you every single answer and go start your drop shipping business. There's no such thing as that when you're starting a business. If there was, then everybody would just do it and be really successful. There's no such thing as that. We're going to give you the steps on how to figure it out. Okay. And so let me start by telling a story. I was recently talking to somebody who's starting their marketing agency. They literally have 1 client and they're trying to figure everything out. And here's what I told him, Derrik. I said, look, you are trying to get everything perfect, and that's not going to happen. I need you to go out and move faster, and I need you to fail faster. And he looked at me, and he was like, you want me to fail faster? Yes. I need you to fail at about 4 or 5 times the speed that you're doing right now, which means you got to get in reps. It's like practicing free throws. You don't go out and practice 1 free throw. You don't go out and practice 10 free throws. You go out and practice dozens or hundreds of free throws to get better, because you have to have that muscle memory to shoot a free throw over and over and over again. And with building an agency, it's all about learning from your failures, and then how do I actually make a company out of that? And you have to get reps in. You're never going to be perfect. And I know, because a lot of people are sitting here listening to this going, I just need that perfect idea, or I just need that perfect business model. It doesn't exist. You have to build it, and you can only build it if you do it. So I'm going to start with that story, and here's what you're going to do. I'm going to give you the 3 steps, and then we're going to dive in and explain them. Number 1, you have to solve a problem. And this is for a marketing agency, okay? Number 2, you have to figure out who you're going to serve. And number 3, you have to go and sell to them. And I know that sounds simple, but we're going to dive into that.
Starting an agency, it's the 3 S's: solving, serving, and selling. It's literally it. You do those 3 things in that order, you're off to the races with your marketing agency. But, and we'll get back to this, the contingency is if you don't fail fast enough and you're not consistent, you will lose. So Gary, why don't we kick it off? Let's explain what it means to solve, the first S.
Yeah. So you got to solve a problem. So being a marketing agency doesn't really mean anything because it's so broad. The word marketing is so broad. So if I said start a marketing agency to Derrik, he would go out and start a podcasting repurposing company that creates shorts and storytelling. If you say start a marketing agency to me, I have a dental marketing agency that provides new patients. Those couldn't be further from each other, right? So you actually have to figure out what problem are you actually solving. So I'll share the problem that we solved, Derrik, and then I want you to share what problem your agency solves, and then we'll talk through this. So the problem that we solve is we help dental offices have predictable new patient growth so they can actually grow the way they want to. The problem with dental offices in every business is that if they don't have enough customers, they can't grow the way that they want. It doesn't matter if they have the best product. It doesn't matter if they have the best service. It doesn't matter. None of that stuff matters if they don't have enough customers coming in to actually experience what they're doing. So we come in and we help them get there faster. Could they go out and do it themselves? Absolutely. Would it take 3, 4, 5 times as long because they have to figure out every step? Yeah. And we've already figured it out, and we know how to do it really quickly for them and get them the new patients that they want.
Yeah, I mean, and one thing that I think is important to note here, right? When it comes to deciding what problem you're going to solve in the agency you're starting, a lot of people get bogged down by thinking, oh, it's oversaturated, or there's a lot of people doing it. Gary, so I know you have, the Agency Growth Engine Mastermind. We have a lot of people that come in there and do very similar stuff. Abundance mindset, there's a lot more opportunity out there than you actually realize. Like, just because there's so many people doing Facebook ads, there might be something you could do differently for a specific person, and we'll get into that in the second S, that might be that one catalyst that determines your agency's success over another. So Gary, what would you say to somebody who's, is worried about that? We're like, hey, I think my market's oversaturated.
So all you have to do is just change you have to pivot by 10 degrees, right? So here's the rule. In business, there's three things that you can do as a business. Any business. This is for every kind of business. You can either be fast, speed. You can either be quality, or you can be affordable. You can only be two of the three. You can never be all three. It's impossible. It's impossible to do all three as a business because you can't afford it. So if you're fast and you're affordable, you're not quality. If you're quality and affordable, then you're not fast because you're stretching out the time to get the work done, right? So you can only pick two of those of the three. So you say, well, why does that matter? All you have to do, Derrik, is look in your industry and see what each of the agencies that you're competing against, see where they serve, and then fill the gap.
Yep, absolutely.
So as an example, if you look in dental marketing, you're going to see that there's a lot of people who will be cheap, right? Affordable. Okay. So we're not affordable, right? We're not going to be the cheapest option. There's way cheaper options. And then there's going to be people who are really fast. We're not the fastest option either. We are the quality option. So that's a choice that we make. And then every time we make a decision, we always keep pivoting harder and harder into that because that's not what people typically want to position themselves as. Most agencies who start and come to dental go, we're going to be fast and we're going to be cheap. Great. That's perfect.
The key takeaway there is we don't want any excuses of a market being oversaturated. All you got to do, to Gary's point, is make that pivot 10 degrees. Whatever market you're going into, Facebook ads, Facebook ads for dentists or Facebook ads for restaurants, right? Figure out what your local area needs and go deliver it to them. And that leads us to that next thing, right, Gary? That's second S.
Yep. So once you solve what you're going to do, so let's say you say, well, I want to be like you, Gary, when I grow up. I want to drive more customers. Okay, great. Now who are you going to serve? Who is the person that actually needs your service? You can't say I'm going to do it for everybody in the whole world, right? You have to pick some kind of business to start with. Now, here's the thing. You're going to guess. When I started, totally guessed. For me, I started with restaurants. So I just started working with restaurants, and then that morphed into car washes, and that morphed into sports arenas, and that morphed into car lots, and eventually it morphed into dentistry. And then now we only work in dentistry. So whoever you're going to serve, it's fine. Just pick somebody that you think that there's an opportunity there and go for it.
Yeah, and I started with a mechanic shop, and that turned into restaurants, and then that turned into podcasts somehow. So, you got to be open and ready, that your market's going to change. But one thing, Gary, and you and I have talked about this on previous episodes many times, right? When you figure out what problem you're going to solve, sometimes the market might genuinely be too small for a specific person in that market. So one thing to note for those listening and watching is when you're delivering on your service, when you're serving the client, you might not need to niche down on who you're serving, sometimes on what you're doing. So, Gary, do you want to dive into that just a bit?
Yeah. So what you offer, so like for Derrik, he offers a service where he works with all podcasters, right? So anybody who wants to blow up their podcast, but he does one specific service for them. And so he's niche in the service that he provides. But there's a lot of podcasters out there, right? So it's not the traditional way you think of niching. For us, we niche down into a industry. We niche down into dentistry, specifically dental groups who want to grow. So we're very niche down into a service. So there's a lot of different ways to niche. There's not one way to niche. You could be a marketing agency that does 100 different services for one person, or you could be a marketing agency that does one service for everybody.
Bottom line, figure out who you're serving, or figure out how you're serving people, period. So you figure out the problem you're solving. Are you generating leads? Are you generating new customers? Are you booking appointments? Are you creating new opportunities? What are some other ones I'm I can't remember.
You could be strategy. You could be somebody who writes emails. You could be email marketing. You could be social media. You could be there. I mean, there's endless. Marketing is really
so
endless.
many opportunities. So many opportunities. But you figured out what you're solving. You figured out who you're serving. Gary, the third S, selling. What is that all about?
All that matters at this point is go sell. And you're here's what you're going to think. You're going to go, well, I'm not very confident because I know the problem that I'm solving and I know who I'm going to go serve and try to help, but I don't know everything about it. You know more than the person that you're selling to, more than likely. You just have to go out and you have to get your reps in. And here's the thing. Your agency's going to change. Derrik started as a social media manager for a mechanic. He now does short form content for podcasters. And this is like in a year. I started as an email marketer for restaurants. I'm now a dental marketer. I want you to think about that. It doesn't matter. You just have to start. And you're not going to actually, here's the real truth, Derrik, and now we're getting towards the end of this episode. You're not going to get the answers on podcasts and all those kind of things on how to start your agency outside of take these steps. You have to actually go get your reps in. Then having conversations, Derrik, I'll give a good example with you. How many times did I say, hey, you need to get an operating system and you need to go do this and this, and you were like, okay. But then you had to hit a brick wall to where you went, this is what Gary was talking about.
Yep, absolutely. And to wrap things up here, to really provide value to those listening and watching. So selling, what does that actually mean though? So at this point, right, and Gary says something critical here that I want to highlight there. You most likely know more than the person you're selling. That's the key. That's the key. That local mechanic or that local restaurant that you're going to go out for ads to, you do know more than them on that. And a couple of YouTube courses will help you solidify that, right? Especially as you're just starting. But what is it selling actually mean? How do you tactically do it? I have grown my agency off the back of 10 cold emails a day, Monday through Friday. Let me repeat myself so that registers. If you are serious about starting a marketing agency, right after you finish this video and you leave us a review and you check us out on all socials, go and find the businesses in your area that you're going to be serving based on the problem that you're going to be solving. Find the business owner's email. Send 10 emails a day. That's it. Monday through Friday, 10 emails a day. That's 50 messages a week. That's 200 messages a month. Do that, and I promise you, after 90 days, you will have an agency that's actually working. Send your messages. That's your only thing to do.
And then you're going to pivot. And you're going to go say, hey, is this who we want to serve, or do we want to solve a new problem? And is this who we want to serve? And then you're going to go sell again, and you're just going to repeat the process over and over and over again.
Overall, it's way easier to start a net marketing company and an agency than you think it is. The only thing that separates those who succeed and those who don't is the people that start and don't give up when things get hard, because you probably won't close a client in your first week. Some people do. You may or you may not. But the only variable that would determine whether you succeed or not is whether you give up and whether you're consistent. And to Gary's point at the beginning, those who are consistent, those who are open to pivot, and those who fail quickly are the ones who are going to win.
100%.
Awesome. Guys, the 3 S's: solve, serve, and sell. If you guys find this video valuable or useful, definitely give us a like, subscribe to the channel, and let us know your thoughts in the comments. If you're listening on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, leave us a review and check us out on all socials. Gary, anything else to add?
Nope. Go do it.
Let's run it up. Peace out, everybody.